Hospital Porters, pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to Panwo TV. And I'm just walking through South Park, Oxford here. And behind me, you're not going to believe what you see there. That are some people playing American football. That's weird seeing that now, you know, because there was actually an attempt to introduce American football into Britain in the 80s, which didn't work because it's just this different clash of cultures, I suppose. And now suddenly I'm seeing it again, which is very, very strange. I haven't seen that like since I was a little kid, and suddenly I see people playing American football again. Anyway, I don't know if that's symbolic or a metaphor or something etheric, I don't know. But anyway, it's Brexit Day. It's Brexit Day, yeah. Well, actually, it's the fourth Brexit Day. There's been 3 others before, which sort of didn't work. Well, you know what they say, fourth time lucky. I'm heading for London again for, is it the 100th or 150th time? I can't remember. These protests and these celebrations, they all seem to blend into one, don't they? Anyway, I'm going to go to London, and I'm not wearing my... Well, I've got my my little Boris t-shirt on there, so... Alright. I'll show you more about that later, but anyway, apart from that, I'm not actually wearing my Brexit kit at the moment. My Brexit kit is in there. There's the flag and the gilet jaune and my Trump hat, which I'm not going to wear. As I said before, you know, if you wear that in Oxford, you're going to get a milkshake before you got 100 yards. But anyway, I'm going to get the coach, go to Oxford, meet up with Mrs. B, meet up with Dave, and no doubt I'll meet a couple of other people there, including some of you Panwo TV viewers, and we shall do what needs to be done when it comes to Brexit Day, January the 31st, 2020, yeah. Oh, I'm in Victoria again, Victoria Station. I was here 2 days ago, do you remember? When I came to see the show about aliens. I'm going back now. I'm going to go up to the Wetherspoons actually, because Wetherspoons actually is one of the few corporations which is supporting Brexit, and I find it interesting because Wetherspoons is also a cartel of independent workers cooperatives. I think that's a healthy sign that Brexit is a good thing. So I'm going to head up there now and have a little drink, wait for Mrs. B. Okay, I've met up with Mrs. B, and now we're heading for the venue. This is Buckingham Palace, and the actual lights display is actually not there. So we're just going to walk around here. We're going to go to the Mall. There's the Victoria Memorial. Supposedly there was a Union Jack displayed on here. That was the rumours that was going to happen. Hasn't happened yet. So we're actually going to head now for the Mall, because there is, I believe, a flag display there. It is. We're on the Mall now, and there's, as you can see, they've got a Union Jack hanging from every pole. I mean, there's been no flag at Buckingham Palace, nothing else like that. There's been no official recognition really of this Brexit at all. And Brexit Day, I know Boris is, but no one else. But as you can see here, they have put flags up here, which is something. That is something. The Big Ben is not going to bong, apparently. That's not heard, is it? Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm hoping someone will go up there with a sledgehammer. I mean, I reckon Boris, you know, it'll have to be someone on the inside who can get in there. But I wouldn't be surprised.
You can go in.
Oh, yeah.
Go through security.
Oh, great, yeah. Oh, I mean, if you can, I don't know if you'd have the correct security passes to get. I couldn't have the security pass to get to the tower, St Stephen's Tower. But if you, I know Boris will. Boris will go up there with a sledgehammer. I bet. Hope he wears earmuffs because it's very loud. He'll deafen himself if he doesn't. But someone might bang the bell with a sledgehammer. Isn't it lovely? It's great, isn't it? And here we are. You can see more here from where I am now, all up and down the Mall there. This is where I was when Trump appeared. He was just over here, and the flags are out. That's great. And I've got my Brexit kit on. I've got my flag. I've got my Brexit gilet jaune, and I've got my MAGA hat on. So I think I'm ready for action. Policemen have just gone back. 2 mounted police have just gone past us. These are the first coppers I've seen today. I don't think anyone's expecting any real trouble because, well, this isn't a protest. You see, this is a happy day. This is like a celebration. I reckon there won't be any protest. I reckon there won't be any trouble. I can't see any reason for anyone to make trouble today. They really can't. I mean, this essentially is what we were protesting for has now happened. So there will be police around, but not that many, I don't think. Okay, we're just approaching Trafalgar Square, and autofocus is not working, but we are heading to see what's up there, what's happening there, and then we're going to have a walk down to Parliament Square. There's like a big blue thing there. I don't think that's got anything to do with what we're up to, but the flags go all the way up to Admiralty Arch, so that's quite a display. It's quite nice they got that, if nothing else. Now this here is Downing Street, the home of our fearless leader, Boris Johnson. And it's really funny, you know, Mrs. B, I've never walked past here and had good feelings about the person in the actual number 10.
It's the first for you then?
It is literally for the first time in my life. It's literally the first time in my life. I'm walking past here and I look and I want to wave and say hello and not raise my middle finger. Sorry. It's literally that. It's literally that. I mean, literally, it's the first time I've felt any admiration or any respect for my Prime Minister. It's incredible.
We've had a few wrong ones, haven't we, in there?
Oh, God. Well, they've all been wrong ones in some way, some worse than others, but and now we've got a good guy. It's incredible.
You ready? Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lord.
Happy birthday to you. Right, before we go any further, yeah?
Who's Paul? I don't know who Paul is.
Honestly, Justin's been sorting this out for 3
But
weeks.
there's been like they got a band there. They were just playing a David Gray song. So it's David Gray, I think, the song. But we're just walking around. It's a lovely, it's a mild, balming evening, and it's dry. And we're walking around Parliament Square. There's a few people just listening to that. We're going to move forward into Parliament Square. Probably see Nigel Farage at some point. I'll try and get an interview. Get an interview with Nigel on camera. That'd be quite something, wouldn't it? I'll ask Nigel to appear on Panro TV. That would be an exclusive, wouldn't it? And here is Parliament Square, and I'm glad I'm here. If you wanted to stay in Oxford, you can stay in Oxford because there is a Ramona. Do you know there's a Ramona thing going on in Oxford? It's not a protest. It's like it's a silent candlelit vigil. A lot of the Ramonas are going to gather. They're just going to stand there silently with the gender study professor's apron waving, and they're going to light candles. And yeah, someone will be crying, no doubt. It's like a plane crash has happened or something. But yeah, that's what they're doing in Oxford now. There's a Ramona candlelit vigil of sadness. Yeah. Oh, it's all clicking off over here. Look, this is where it was last time. I remember this is where it was last time. We're crossing a road. I'm following Mrs. B's lead. She's a Londoner. She's an expert at road crossing, whereas I'm kind of a bit amateurish. Oh, this is where we were. This is where we we were stuck here for like 2 hours while the police didn't decide what to do with us. And oh, here's
Even being unruly.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And here we are back again. And there's Big Ben, which is covered in scaffolding. It's not going to bong. Unless Boris goes up there with a sledgehammer, which he probably will. And that there is Little Ben. See that? Oh, it's still not functioning. That is going to bong, even though the big one's not. The little one will. That's great. People have voted, yeah. Everything's democracy. That's wonderful. Get closer. There's a Frexit over here. France. You see Frexit. France next. Yeah. Ah. Do you want to say a few words? Okay, Mrs. B wants to say a few words. You don't? You sure?
I need to use.
Oh, right, sorry.
He stands among Churchill and Lloyd George with a sense of dignity and self-respect.
We have really sort of followed in there. It's Brexit over there, look. With France next. The autofocus doesn't work very well on, I think that says something in French, but just when it's dark, the autofocus doesn't work very well. But we were just saying about Lloyd George, because there's Lloyd George over there, famous Welsh Prime Minister, and we were saying that what was it you were saying? He said something very good.
That we're no longer the lesser sons of greater forefathers, that having achieved this, that we can stand in their shadows without feeling ashamed of ourselves.
Yep, I think so. You'll make a good poet. That's true, isn't it? I mean, it's like I think we've kept the British tradition of strength and rebellion and independence alive.
Freedom.
It's still there. I mean, I was just thinking about Germany. I mean, I feel sorry for Germany because Germany's been crushed.
Yeah.
I mean, since 1945, it has been utterly crushed. It's a pale husk of its former self.
Yeah.
And they tried to do it to Britain, but so it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. And we see, otherwise, Brexit wouldn't have happened. Little Ben is still bonging there, you see, and the atmosphere here is just so different. I mean, the atmosphere. It's just like the atmosphere that was here before. I mean, it was great to protest. It was great to have our say. But now, this is the lap of honour for us, not the race.
It's a great thing.
Yeah, we really have.
Been through the battle.
There's probably there's a few hundred people. Oh, who's this?
Cause we can't stand the parliament.
Oh my God! I thought he was dead. That's another conspiracy
theory.
Yes. I told you. See, some of you think he's alive. Well, as you can see, he is, isn't he? It's just started raining. You can see the rain coursing down through the lights there. It looks quite nice, actually. Just look at this. There's hundreds of people here. We're still waiting for Nigel to arrive. I haven't seen Sargon. It's probably going to be over there, actually, because there's some sort of stage set up over there. I think that's where they're not there yet, but that's probably where Nigel's going to be, and Sargon of Akkad and all the others. So just have to wait for them to arrive. But we're getting a little bit wet now. But the forecast is for light rain, which won't last forever. So I'm trying to get hold of Dave. You know, Dave, who went to Exopol with us. I'm trying to get hold of him. He's supposed to be in the area, but he's been calling me, but I haven't picked up his calls. And he's on voicemail. But hopefully Dave will be here soon. This is B and I sitting down at the moment, but we'll go over to the stage when Nigel gets it, because they've got this beautiful flag flying, an electronic flag flying on the stage, and loads of other Union flags there. It's really wonderful. Yeah. Union flag, unless it's on a ship, in which it's Union Jack. I found that out a while ago. I should know that, actually, because I was a Royal Navy recruit at one point, so I should know that. Now, do you want to be in? Okay. I'm here. Dave has turned up. You know, everyone knows Dave.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
Yeah. If you watch regularly, you know Dave. How are you,
What
Dave?
a fantastic evening. Fantastic evening. Finally, what a fantastic evening. Finally, we have our freedom.
Yeah.
At least a step in the right direction.
You've been really, really on our side on this, haven't you? I mean, not everyone in the truth movement is, but you've been really, really keen on the idea of Brexit.
Well, I didn't get involved in politics really until the referendum, and at that point,
that's radicalised a lot of people, I find, that referendum.
I'd already started to realise just what the EU was all about, and so I got involved in helping with the referendum and canvassing, and also, of course, this election, the most recent one, had to help out just to do anything I could. But like so many people, I mean, I was a Johnny-come-lately really, but so many people have been helping out for years, 10, 20, 30 years, and the central point is that the EU essentially it pretends it's some sort of unity, some sort of peace project, but it really just wants centralised, unaccountable power.
Yeah,
and that removes, it wants you to remove the power of your vote in Westminster to affect your own laws. So that's what it's all about, and that is the essence of your freedom. That's why this is so important.
Yeah.
But of course, the media disguises that. They talk about economics, like they deliberately did in apparently in '75. They framed it all in economics because they didn't want people thinking about the sovereignty issues.
Oh, look, I don't know if it was you who sent me the video. Someone sent me a video of old clips from '75 and the referendum then for the EEC, and it was just like all. I mean, it was complete. It was the same bullshit that we're getting now.
It's exactly the same. Same
we need to be in Europe. If you be in the common market and stuff like that. Be in Europe. We're already we're in the common market, but it's just so. it's just it's Project Fear and Project
Fear.
and it's got this idea that the EU's you've got this image, haven't they? It was what little Dutch girls with white caps and clogs, and little French kids with carrying baguettes and wearing berets, and they're all standing in a circle singing Kumbaya.
They deliberately pretend that it's all about a lovely Europe and everyone together holding hands, and it's not. It's about a power grab.
That's not what I think. When I think of the EU, I don't think of those things. I see Angela Merkel and her dead eyes. I see these suited bureaucrats in Brussels standing inside this building is based on the painting Bruegel's Tower of Babel. It's based on that painting, you know.
Right.
And then that interesting, considering what we were talking about earlier.
And they're trying to homogenise culture, that division of culture. They're trying to eliminate every individual culture of every country. It's not about us celebrating our own culture. So the Dutch girls, the French girls, they're eliminating that. They're trying to destroy that.
That's what it's all about. And this is why. And the ultimate plan, of course, is to solidify the authoritarian nature of the EU, which is very authoritarian. You don't vote. You vote for your MEP. Your MEP can't do anything really. They can't.
They're just a token puppet.
They vote on the
European
bills.
Parliament has no power to make laws. It's just a dummy parliament to give the illusion of democracy.
It's the show. It's the show. It's the shop window. But the EU Commission make the rules. They make the laws
in secret.
And the EU they vote them. But once the Parliament approve them, they can't repeal them. And the MEPs can't present bills themselves. So they're very different from these ones in Westminster here.
It's a big con. I mean, at the moment, I know it's not a perfect system, but it's the best we've got. If you don't like your laws, you have a chance at least to vote them out. But if you've got laws being made by the commissioners, which are going to affect more and more countries, they're making laws at a distance. Really, you want local democracy, and it's unaccountable. If you don't like the laws, you can't remove them in a few years' time. And this is what Tony Benn and even Jeremy Corbyn were talking about for years and years and years. Peter Shaw, and then just for the sake of getting power, he totally went against his principles and sided with Remain.
I mean, look at who's the UK commissioner. It's old Lord Kinnock, the Welsh windbag himself. I mean, he tried to be prime minister, and people didn't vote him as prime minister. Then he went to the EU, and they gave him like a position of grand dictator. So he's like he went up in the world there.
So I mean, I'd say to all you young people, especially having had the joys of the EU sort of pushed down your throat by the education system, wake up because. And I think you will see it eventually. It's a con. It's a power grab. It's a globalist power grab. It's all for power to lay with big corporations and centralised power, unaccountable power. And it's removing all very freedom. So I'm hoping that once we're out, it'll change the perspective. I think it will shift the perspective. Other people who were previously institutionalised, other countries will say, "Hang on a minute, we want some of that." It'll wake them up a bit.
That's what I'm hoping, that we've led the way and others will follow. We've beaten the track.
I think so, Brendan. I think that's good.
Because if not, what's happening in the EU, the fact that the EU's in trouble means the New World Order's in trouble. Because the plan is never for a continental superstate. The plan is for a dictatorial one world government. And the EU, it's the two-stage Stalinist model. Stalin said that one world government could be achieved by first setting up continental superblocks that will then be merged into the one world government. George Orwell depicted this in 1984 with the three superblocks: Oceania, East Asia, Eurasia. They're always at war with each other. They're switching power sides all the time.
You were always at war with this one. No, you weren't. You were always at war with this one.
And no one notices.
Rewrite history.
No one ever notices. It just seems. And that's
people stop thinking.
They do.
People just stop thinking, and that's what the education system is all geared up to do right now.
Another thing that Orwell got completely right was the battlefield of the modern world is the human mind. That's the essential. It's controlling our thoughts and feelings is really the front line and the last line of the war, and that's why they deploy psychologists and people like the Tavistock Institute. And so by getting out of the EU 11 p.m. tonight, this is the biggest strike back against that agenda that has happened. I don't know when.
I always think it's a bit like, what's that game with the Jenga, is it, with the wooden pieces? Where that piece has been taken out, it's going to make all the others collapse. It's like the Berlin Wall,
As I said, I interviewed Claire Ray Randall last night, and she was saying the same thing. It's like this is a tipping point. This is like a critical mass moment here, and it's incredible. I mean, it's not going to be over. I mean, they're not going to go quietly, but this is. I think, was it Winston Churchill said, it's not the end. It's not the beginning of the end. Maybe it's the end of the beginning.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
We've turned the corner. It's not over yet, but we've turned the corner, you know.
I think it's a bit like there's a great video about some animals. It's on the internet who were chimpanzees, I think, were sort of kept in captivity in a big cage, you know, for experiments and stuff for like decades or a really long time. And then they show them when they eventually released them out into the greenery in the wild outside. You know, one of them stepped out cautiously, sort of saw the open spaces and was a bit cautious, almost went back in and sort of started enjoying the open spaces, you know. And the other ones were still in the cage, but the door was open, thinking, oh, do we want to go out? And then they gradually followed, and they all followed because they could see how wonderful it was. You know, it's a new scene, you know. And I think it's the same dynamics. I think with the EU. You know, we're the people who have stepped out, and other people are going to look at us and say, oh, it looks nice out there.
And eventually it's difficult. I mean, in a sense, freedom and happiness are actually things that are hard for some people to deal with, to accept them. When you've lived your whole life under the jackboots, and suddenly you're offered freedom and happiness, it's almost overwhelming. It's just almost too much for some people.
It's a process. I mean, look at those bullies over there. That woman in the EU Parliament when Farage did his final speech. You will put your flags away.
Put your flags away. He's going like this.
You've been cut off.
Exercise that last moment of power.
And she gave the game away in the last few seconds. It's amazing, you know. And then you've got Donald Tusk, you know, there's a special place in hell. You've got Juncker saying you have to lie sometimes. Who wants to be associated with those people and ruled by those people?
One of them said, we own you. You can't leave because we own you. Who was that said that? One of them did. Or somebody.
I can't remember which one. Maybe Verhofstadt, I'm not sure, but they're all horrible people. They've all been on the Calamities ball bags of the week. They've all had their turn. Some of them have been on more than once. But I mean, it's like it's so funny because they kept waving the flags and they were standing up and cheering, and she was like, "Oh, put the flags away, put the flags away." What's she going to do? What's she going to do? What's she going to do? Deselect him?
It's finished. It's over.
It's his last ever speech, and when he walks out, it's like, oh, it's so wonderful. But that's the bureaucratic mind, though. The bureaucratic mind it's like these people are just like zombies with tape recorders inside them.
It's a prison, guys. The EU is a prison. You know, and I know some people take this idealistic view of it, but I'm sorry, it's a prison. It's a power grab. And you know, please wake up, please.
And this is, of course, this is now the breakdown of the European Union will involve that the whole one world agenda is now in trouble. But God knows what they're going to do. I mean, there's going to be a backlash, but I'll tell you what, we've shown that in this country, and indeed we've shown that there's free humanity exists, and the freest nation of all humanity is Britain. Yay! And that's how we've led in England. I've got like one of these. I've got to get there. Mrs. B has given me this lyric sheet here, Patriotic song. So I just love it. I mean, Jerusalem, of course, is my favourite, but I like most of them.
It's just the same as he's got there. We thought we might have a sing-song later.
Oh, we're singing loads. I mean, definitely.
It's just a few songs that we like.
Nice one.
Yeah, there'll always be an England, and there's a country lane. Wherever there's a cottage small beside a field of grain, there'll always be an England. And there's a bus street where there's a turning wheel, a million marching feet. Mrs. B knows them off by heart.
I don't know that one very well, do I? Did you really?
I can't. We'll pick it up after a few words. That's good morning.
Once you've drunk half a second.
Well, of course, I'm going to sing Jerusalem. I doubt if I'll get on Newsnight this time, like I did last time. But I would. What's her name? Krusty Wank, or whatever her name was. She, Kirsty Walk, I think her name was. She said, "Oh yeah, someone was singing Jerusalem."
Yes, she did. Yeah, that was amazing.
So, so cool. That's the only time I'm ever going to get on the BBC, I swear. So we're just waiting now because the stage is lit up, but we're still waiting for the speakers to arrive. I know that Nigel Farage is going to be there, and Sargon of Akkad. Maya Tusi somewhere around. I mean, you'll know Maya Tusi. He's got a camera. I'd love to go on his channel.
Oh yeah, I went to his party the other day.
Did you? What was that like?
In the Wellington Club. It was great. Yeah. Steve Baker was there and Douglas Glasgow.
Oh, cool. I love his channel. I think his channel's fantastic.
By the way, guys, I'm doing a video of Ben doing a video.
Oh, hello.
Ben's doing his been campaigning against the New World Order for many.
I think all my life in one way or another. Yeah.
Ben's such a brilliant guy, and I'm doing a video of Ben doing his famous, world famous reportage, which goes all over the world on the internet.
Yes.
And
Hospital Porters, pride and dignity, stop the New World Order.
And we're here at this momentous. We're so happy to share with Ben and his friend Mrs. B this wonderful momentous occasion, which is the biggest occasion for the UK since VE Day.
Yeah, it is. It's different. It may be even more than that. Yeah, fantastic. So it's raining, but I tell you what, people are a bit down.
Your hard work, by the way.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much to you, Dave. You've been good too. And I tell you what, it's not dampening anyone's spirits.
No,
it's actually not so.
About the rain,
This is Britain after all. We're used to the rain. You only have what's this? Oh, lovely. Oh, thank you.
Any other side?
Oh, right.
Oh, well, this is
Just a party.
This alternative. Oh yeah, I've heard of alternative for Germany. Yeah. This is This is one. This is. I've got her Panmo TV. This is one German mark, and this is AFD, which is Alternative for Deutschland, and this is Brexit, which is the German equivalent of Brexit. This is on my YouTube channel. Is that all right?
Hello.
Hello.
And the next is Italy, and it's Italics.
Yes, it's Brexit for France. We've seen the Brexit people. Hopefully, there'll be an exit for every single member state, and these can become sovereign states again. But thanks for the.
And when go Germany out from Europe, it's finished. No money.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, then I'll be the end of the super state altogether, because I mean, you can't. Yeah. What's your
more money? No.
Well, thank you for this. Thanks very much for this, because Alternative for Germany are like UKIP and that. They're fighting for the freedom of the country. Yeah. So yeah, good luck to you. Down with Merkel. See ya.
No, England is famous for rain.
And you see the stage is still no one on stage yet. But I just wanted to talk to Mrs. B about this, because we were talking about what challenges people have had to face, including people have had to go and fight in wars and sit in trenches where the rats nibble your feet and stuff. And I mean, yeah, those people back then had advantages over us, but we've got advantages over them because we don't have to. Hey, look! Oh, nice. That's nice. This is Courage Calls to Courage Everywhere. Yeah, and she's like a true. He's sheltering this brave lady, Millicent Garrett Fawcett, with an umbrella, with a Union Jack umbrella. That's lovely. That is. That's really nice. I was like, we're talking about the Ramonas, but people being triggered, because they hear the wrong pronoun. Yeah. And I was like, I was watching a documentary about the Battle of Britain and about how you have guys. Sometimes they're 18. These guys, they're not pilots because they weren't trained as pilots. They had 1 day's flying lesson, and they were put inside a Hurricane and a Spitfire, and they were sent up against the Luftwaffe, one of the biggest, most modern, most fearsome air forces in the world. And so many of them never came back. And some of them, when they were coming in to land, they thought, I'm not sure. This is only the second time they landed the plane, and they're coming back from battle, and some of them crashed and they died. And I know, and I was just thinking. Some of those guys, I mean, they're very old now, but a few of them are still alive. And I was just thinking, what do they think about the feeble, hysterical nature of our mind control, browbeaten population who go crazy if you say the wrong thing? They must think, what has this country turned into? What has this world turned into? Yeah, it's.
We can turn the tide back.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. Because we do need to have that kind of spirit. That's kind of whatever the rights and wrongs of the war. I mean, I'm not going to go into that. But the fact of the matter is, it's scary. We don't have to face this sort of thing. Hopefully, I don't know if I could do that, and hopefully, I'll never get a chance to find out. And we're heading. Look how many people there are now. I think there's double the number of people as here when we arrived, if not more. It's now just gone 8 o'clock. Nigel's supposed to be speaking at 9, and I can hear little Ben bonging away. It's really, there's a great atmosphere here. It is like a festival. It's not like it's not so different to the protests. Same defiance. There's the same sense of defiance, but there's a sense of freedom and that we've finally broken the chain. There's a band over here. There's a guy with a guitar. Looks like Elvis. I'm skidding around the place here. It's actually pretty muddy underfoot now. Yeah, it's actually pretty muddy on my underfoot now. Oh, that we'd burn that one. But as you can see, there's a guy playing music. He stopped now. He's singing "Land of Hope and Glory," and it's like a rock festival. We were just saying it's like a rock festival atmosphere. Look at that. That's good, isn't it? I'm going to slip over any minute, I think. But there's a great atmosphere here. Lock up the traitors, exactly. There's a UKIP flag. I've seen lots of Brexit party things. There's another Hong Kong umbrella. Flags are all over the Commonwealth. There's a United States flag there. Flag of Northern Ireland there. There's a veterans flag.
Is that your new one? Because Independence Day, I like that.
I see everyone's smiling, people are laughing. I mean, we had fun last time, but you know, it's totally different now. Totally different. It's almost like a kind of quietness. A kind of quiet contentment. I sense the atmosphere here. It's quite something. As far as I mean, I've got the Houses of Parliament behind me now, which is a lot better than it was last time we were here with the traitorous Remona MPs on the opposition taking over everything. Someone said kick out the traitors, and someone said no periods for Burkow. You can see these things. No periods for Burkow. Let's go WTO. I mean, I personally would prefer WTO Brexit. We got the deal now. But there's a Hong Kong flag there. You can see the Hong Kong flag. But what I want to say about, like, I don't think I will ever forgive Labour, Lib Dem. I'll never ever trust them again. I think a lot of other people won't. I can't forgive them for what they've done. I don't believe they ever will have credibility again in my eyes. I don't know whose eyes they ever will be. I mean, people have short memories, but I think people's memories are growing longer now with experience. I think Brexit represents a permanent, very deep, fundamental sea change in the political landscape of Britain and beyond. You know, the full effects of Brexit, the ramifications, the complete change this will bring are changes we may not even, I think, understand for many years to come. It may be something we can't predict and can't even conceive at the moment. I think it's going to take a long time, and maybe something completely new and novel will come out of this. And there's a lot of people in this world, especially in this country, like my dad, who are neophobes. They're essentially neophobes. Neophobe is a term coined by Robert Anton Wilson. It means people who are afraid of change. I'm not afraid of change. The only thing that scares me is no change. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with Celia, and Celia, it's good to talk to you. Welcome to being on Hopanwo TV.
Thank you.
What brings you here today?
I came here because I've wanted this for many, many years, before even the referendum. So I'm coming to celebrate, yeah.
All right. How have you felt over the last few years with everything going on with...
Frustrated, angry with all that, but now I'm cock-a-hoop, really over the moon. Yeah, properly.
Great. Do you think this is different now? Do you think things are changing and there's going to be a new kind of atmosphere? Do you think this is a new age?
I hope so. I hope
stay the
so.
same? What do you think?
I really don't know, but it can only get better. It can only get better.
It can only get worse.
No, it can't. No. So probably it can only get better. And I'm excited because I don't know what's going to happen, but I think it's just going to get better. That's what excites me.
That's true. How far have you travelled from?
I live near Gatwick Airport, so it's not that far.
Oh, okay. Well, it's good to talk to you. Enjoy the evening.
Thank you. You too. Thank you very much.
You see there's the flag of Devon there. They're just sort of like going around. I see you filming me now.
Sorry.
Sure. Hey, feel free. Hello. Yay. Bye bye. Bye.
Sorry.
It's all right. I
I'm
don't
only going
mind.
to put this on my Facebook.
I should give you my Facebook so you send it to me.
I will do.
I'll give you, I'm Ben Emlyn Jones, you'll find me.
Emlyn Jones.
Emlyn Jones.
Oh, I love you.
Write that down, yeah, if you write it down, you'll find it.
I'll write that down. E-M-L-Y-N.
Hyphen and J-O-N.
Ben Emlyn Jones.
Yeah, you'll find me. And send it to me, yeah. Thanks very much. Sorry?
There's
There's no one there. I
the
can't.
thing came on the screen.
You're not missing a lot, actually. To be honest, you're not. You can't see. I can't see much. You can't because there's umbrellas and flags in the way.
I think it'll all be on the screen.
Yeah,
anyway.
well, yeah, we'll see on there.
It's very well organised, isn't it?
I voted leave, lest we forget.
The European Economic Community joined the common market, that is. French President Charles de Gaulle vetoed it alone twice. He said Britain was incompatible with Europe.
Yeah!
It was 1973, but he finally dragged Britain, some kicking and screaming, into the continental community of protest through a pot of ink at him. He said we'll find a great cross-fertilization of knowledge and information, not only in business, but in every other sphere.
In the ballroom of the Dorchester, the Yes campaign was launched by the Labour Home Secretary Roy Jenkins. From the Tory and Liberal
Look at them. They look evil, don't they?
The campaign to get Britain out of the common market was led by the Industry Secretary. As the opinion polls start to turn against the anti-marketeers, Tony Blair decides to
tell me the time of day.
Is 500,000 jobs lost and a huge increase in food prices at a stroke caused by the common market.
In 1975, John Mills was one of the organisers of No Campaign, setting up meetings across the country as the campaign neared its climax with a debate at the Oxford Union. Mrs. Castle was up against two of the most senior Europhiles, Ted Heath and the Liberal leader, Jeremy Thorpe.
They lured us into the market with the mirage of the market miracle.
Holding these views as passionately and sincerely as she does, may we assume that if the vote is yes, she would not stay on to administer those policies as a minister?
If the vote goes yes, my country will need me to save it.
On a high turnout, the people voted by 2 to 1 for Britain to stay in the common market.
The winter of discontent was Margaret Thatcher's chance to seize power. In 1979, she called a vote of no confidence against the government, and she won.
The greatest honour that can come to any citizen in a democracy. I know full well the responsibilities
That's all right
that
now.
await
That's
me.
fine.
We have not successfully rolled back the frontiers of the state in Britain,
because she was
only to
anti-Europe,
see them reimposed at a European level, with the European superstate exercising a new dominance from Brussels. Mr. de Gaulle said at a press conference the other day that he wanted the European Parliament to be the democratic body of the community, he wanted the Commission to be the executive, and he wanted the Council of Ministers to be the Senate. No.
cooperation.
Good evening. The headlines at 6 o'clock. The government.
We've just been watching a little film, just some vignettes of the history of Britain's entry to the EU, and it's really good. Every time a bad guy comes on, everyone boos, and every time a good guy comes on, everyone cheers. Cheering Boris, cheering Nigel and that. It's like these searchlights now going up in the sky. It's like 20th Century Fox.
Discontent was Margaret Thatcher's chance to seize power.
Graphics,
in 1979, she called a vote of no confidence against the government. She won.
The greatest honour that can come to any citizen in
the wind's blowing, the flags are all flying.
Well, the responsibilities that await me. We have not successfully rolled back the frontiers of the state in Britain, only to see them reimposed at the European level, with the European superstate exercising a new dominance from Brussels.
Mr. Delors said at press conference the other day that he wanted the European Parliament to be the democratic body of the community. He wanted the Commission to be the executive, and he wanted the ministers to be the Senate. No!
BBC with Andrew Harley.
Good evening. The headlines at 6 o'clock. The government raises interest rates twice in one day to 15%.
A unique day in London's financial markets ended with the Chancellor announcing that the pound was being suspended from the ERM, and that the second of two dramatic interest rate rises during the day was after all cancelled.
The government has concluded that Britain's best interests are served by suspending our membership of the exchange rate mechanism.
The Prime Minister has been defending the Maastricht Treaty as the right way forward for Europe.
Despite John Major's appeal to the Maastricht rebels, 26 Tories voted with Labour. Good evening. Despite doing everything bar stand on its head to persuade Tory rebels to fall into line, the government was this evening defeated in a Commons vote on an amendment to the Maastricht Bill.
My own opposition to this treaty has been known for a very long time. I remember telling the Chief Whip years ago that wild horses
I don't know a lot of these people are.
Any more of this European nonsense.
What we're saying to the government is there's more of this in store unless they look for a solution. And there is a solution. All we want is for to let the people decide. If the government agrees to our referendum, the rebellion is over, they can get the bill through very quickly, and there'll be no more trouble.
That to get the best out of Europe, we must make the most of our strength.
We believe that in principle, British membership of a successful single currency would be beneficial to Britain and to Europe.
If you want to have freedom, which is necessary, you've got to fight for it.
James Goldsmith, the referendum party. I like him, he's good.
But none of the parties have a mandate from this election to take us into a federal Europe because they have all campaigned against it.
What started wherever people congregate in this country is now beginning to reach a crescendo roar. And what people are saying is get Britain out.
You have the charisma of a damp rag and the appearance of a low-grade bank clerk. And the question that I want to ask, that we're all going to ask is, who are you? I've never heard of you. Nobody in Europe had ever heard of you. I'd like to ask you, President, not popular with you lot.
We're going to get the biggest turnout for European elections we've seen since 1979. So the answer is increasingly, yes, they do matter. And people realise that Europe, whether you like it or not, is really, really important.
A political earthquake may sound like hyperbole, but however you describe it, victory for a party without an MP or a council leader is unprecedented.
We will give the British people a referendum. It will be an in-out referendum.
Chance for us to take back control of this country. Can you hear me in the back? That the dawn is breaking on independent United Kingdom.
Sky News is projecting that the UK has voted out. The UK electorate has taken the historic decision to withdraw from the European Union after more than 40 years of membership.
2016, yeah.
I do not think it would be right for me to try to be the captain that steers our country to its next destination.
Brexit means Brexit.
We will leave on the 29th of March 2019. 29th of March, 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 29th of March.
Good evening. Today is Judgment Day. Today's Brexit deal and apprenticeship hang by the flimsiest of threads.
We're going to London to stop the Brexit betrayal.
That was us. We were there.
But the betrayal
We were there.
well
We went to
done,
that,
date will probably be repeated on the 12th of April. If that means we have to fight the European elections, let me tell you, I will fight them.
Speaking as a voter, I have to say I've voted for both the main parties throughout my life. I'm very apolitical. I vote for the party that I think will do the best job in the next 4 or 5 years. We'll touch either of you with Bart or not. People are up to there with you lot. They really are. And you see what's happening with Farage. What a comeback.
Y'all ready for this?
I actually, rather stupidly, for a moment, believe that we won. Nigel Farage's Brexit Party, first out of the box, campaigning for Euro elections on the day we were once supposed to leave Europe.
A new party with a familiar face. Nigel Farage, jubilant as his Brexit party bagged 29 seats in the European elections.
We did it! We pulled it off, didn't we?
This chap's got the most fantastic suit. Just look at that, Brexit. And yeah, well done, mate. Brilliant.
Please welcome to the stage, Richard Tice.
Flags look great when it's blowing in the wind. It's Anne Widdecombe speaking
Now
now.
I think that we can all congratulate every single one of us. Of course, mainly it has been the doing of Nigel Farage. I had enough after 7 months. He's been doing it for 25 years. So, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow we will wake up in a free country with a glorious future. And we can be confident, dash it, we're the world's 5th largest economy. We don't need anybody to prop us up or to tell us what to do.
Yes.
And
It's
Julia Hartley Brewer there.
It's great to be here with you tonight to celebrate this incredible. It was a bit more unspicy.
Wow, what a wonderful evening. In less than an hour, we're going to leave the European Union superstar. Over 25 years, he's had all sorts of abuse and vitriol and challenges, but his determination, his courage, his enthusiasm knows no bounds. It's been a huge privilege to work with him so closely for the last 18 months. My word, we've had some ups and some exciting times and one or two challenges. But we prevailed because without Nigel, as we all know, there would have been no referendum. Without Nigel, there would have been no Brexit. And without Nigel, there would have been no Brexit party. He's here now. He's with us. Give him a massive, massive welcome. He's a little bit shy sometimes, you know. Do we want Nigel? Nigel Farage! Something truly remarkable is going to happen. Something that I fought for 27 years. And something that many thousands of you gave your time, love and money for. We faced an establishment that never even wanted to listen to us. An establishment that never wanted that referendum to take place. An establishment that has tried for 3.5 years to frustrate the will of the greatest democratic mandate ever seen in this country. But in 13 minutes' time, we will leave the European Union! The landscape of our country, and there are some that say we we shouldn't celebrate tonight. Well, we are going to celebrate tonight. And we are celebrating tonight because we know that this is the single most important moment in the modern history of our great nation. That is happening tonight. And I think there's a lot to celebrate, don't you? The first thing to celebrate is that we will no longer have to listen to Mr. Juncker, to Mr. Guy Verhofstadt. No longer will our Prime Ministers be talked down to by unelected bureaucrats in Brussels. We should celebrate the fact that we are going to be able, across the road here, to make our own laws by people we can hold directly accountable in general elections. We, in 11 minutes, become a democratic, self-governing, independent, and I hope, proud nation. We should celebrate that in 10 minutes' time, we're getting there, aren't we? 3.5 years was a long time. 10 minutes doesn't sound too bad to me. We should celebrate the fact that freed from the constraints of the European Union, we once again will be able to find our place in the world. We are able to re-engage with the Commonwealth, with America, with our friends all over the world. It will be a global Britain. Global Britain. But there's one thing above all that we must celebrate tonight, and it's this. The only reason we're here tonight is because Westminster became utterly detached from ordinary people in this country. And those people started to speak. Those people started to rise. Those people forced a referendum. Those people forced a general election. And those people, despite all the flaws in our system, for the first time in history, the people have beaten the establishment. And that the real winner tonight is democracy. Democracy has won tonight. And I, as somebody who believes that we should be pro-Europe, but not pro the European Union, I believe we've now set an example for our friends right across the continent. I want a Europe of free, sovereign, democratic nations, and we'll trade with them, we'll work with them, we'll cooperate with them, we'll have reciprocity, but we will not take orders from them. I'm shy, but thank you. So we've got a lot to celebrate and a lot to look forward to. Now I know there are big battles to come. I know there are people here concerned what happens with fisheries. People here concerned with whether the European Court of Justice will have a say in the future. People concerned about regulatory alignment. People concerned about whether we could be betrayed again. But remember this. Remember this. What happens now in 8 minutes' time? return. We're never, ever going back. And important though the rest of it is, the rest, in a sense, becomes detail. We will be free, we will be sovereign, we will be proud, we will be independent. We've won a very great victory. And you know, an amazing thing has happened today. Tony Blair. But I'm going to surprise you.
Oh.
I really am going to surprise you. Tony Blair has said today, there is no point looking back. We've made a decision. We are leaving the European Union and we must work together to make it a success. How about that?
What on earth?
How about that? A crowd of Brexiteers cheer Tony Blair.
You must be
How about that?
What a
Because
hypocrite.
what is happening is
What a
our
two-faced
country
bastard.
is now uniting. Our country is coming together. Nearly everybody, even Lord Mandelson this morning, accepted this is happening. There are some, of course, who struggle. This is the new 50p coin. And Lord Adonis, who, as somebody said earlier, who is he anyway? Lord Adonis says he won't use the new 50p coin, but you know what?
Send him to me.
People like him now look like members of the Flat Earth Society. The fact is that the war is over. We have won. And now we have in Boris Johnson, a charismatic Prime Minister who is saying all of the right things. All of the right things. I never believed I would ever see a Conservative Prime Minister say any of the right things. But he's saying all of the right things. And in many ways, our hopes and our trust are now bound up with what Boris Johnson does. We want him to keep to his promises. We want him to make us free. And I promise you that I and all of you will keep him, won't we? We will keep him to his promises. Who knows? I think there's a good chance he'll deliver. I think the Conservative Party learned a lesson in those European elections they never, ever want to repeat. So let us be optimistic. Let us think about the future of our great nation. Let us think about the example that we are giving to the rest of Europe and the free world as well. Let us celebrate tonight as we've never done before. You and all of us have made history, and this is the greatest moment in the modern history of our great nation. Thank you.
Nigel, we love you.
27, 26, 25, 24, 3, 22, 21, 20. Going home. Just gotta go home and see what happens now. Go home, go to a shop, hope I get one of those new 50p pieces. If I get one of those, I'm gonna frame it. The first one I get, I'm gonna frame. The second one I'm gonna get, I'm gonna try to sell to a Japanese collector for £5,000. The answer is money, money, money. I have not got a Brexit box, so if everything goes wrong, I'm at it. I'm in shit street because do you know the Brexit boxes, those Brexit survival kits? You've seen those? They have, some guys have been selling the Brexit boxes, these Brexit survival kits, right? With canned food, fire lighters, water purifiers and things like that in them. Most of them sell for around the £300 mark. But they're not that good because they don't have the zombie killing gun, they don't have the nuclear tipped cruise missile for killing Godzilla. Hopefully the army has a few of those. And surely there's enough room for the drugs for treating the super gonorrhea. They could even slip in some Mars bars and cheese. All this time I've been trying to persuade people that Brexit is something good, something not to be afraid of. At the same time I've been doing that, meanwhile, somebody else has been selling people packets of groceries for £300 a pop. I'm in the wrong business. The weather is windy and it's dry, it's lovely, it's fresh, it's warm. Beside me, broken clouds, I can see stars through the clouds now. I can see clear night sky awaiting the dawn. Dawn. The sun will rise on a free Britain. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. What is the time? 11:30. We've been through for 30 minutes. Oh, good. It's going to take longer than that for it even to sink in. Happy shock. You, my Hapanwo TV viewers, you have just watched history being made in a way that you've never ever seen before. And did those feet in ancient times walk upon England's mountains green? And was the holy Lamb of God on England's pleasant pastures seen? And did the countenance divine shine forth upon our clouded hills? And was Jerusalem builded here among those dark satanic mills? Bring me my bow of burning gold. Bring me my arrows of desire. Bring me my spear, oh clouds unfold. Bring me my chariot of fire. I shall not cease from mental fight, nor shall my sword sleep in my hand, till we have built Jerusalem in England's green and pleasant land. Well, it's 1:15 AM, just about, on the 1st of February, and it is the day after Brexit Day, and the deed is done. See what I've got? I've been wearing this t-shirt here, Make Britain Independent Again. Well, I've had that t-shirt for a couple of months now, and I've worn it a few times on special occasions, and, well, Boris has fulfilled his word. He said get Brexit done, and he's got Brexit done. And so tomorrow morning the sun will rise. It will rise on a free country. Or will it? First of all though, now is not the time to ask those questions, although I am going to ask them. But first of all we have to celebrate. And I've got this here. So it's not British, it's Prosecco. It was actually Mrs. B who gave me the idea of getting some of this, because she said it's very nice. So that's what I'm going to get. I'm going to have some of this. So let me just undo this do this wire here. Yeah, there are times for analysis and there are times for, what's the word, for sort of like strategy and things like that. And then it's just times for having some bubbly and just enjoying yourself and saying, great, I'm happy. There's time for just saying that you're just happy. And I am, so let's, right, this is, I hope it's not, I hope it doesn't go everywhere. I hope I'm not going to wake the other, if it goes bang really loudly, then I might wake the others up. I don't know, here we go. They'll probably just want a glass. They're Muslims, but they drink. There we go. I can't do this thing that motor racers do, where they squirt it everywhere. I think what a waste, you know. You know, there's those racing drivers when they win the Grand Prix, they just spray it everywhere. Hey, bit of smoke coming off there, and there's the cork. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Hapanmo Reed, it's time to toast the future. By the way, I hope the lighting's alright. I haven't moved my light. I normally move it to a different place when I'm filming, and I'm just too bloody tired, so I'm not going to. So let's put this in. Now, I haven't got one of those posh glasses, you know, the ones with those big tall flutes, I think they call them. Like, where they're sort of like tall ones, you know, the big tall glasses, tall thin ones. I've just got a normal wine glass. Hope that will suffice. Anyway, to Britain and to freedom. Yes, indeed. Funny thing is, right now I feel strangely subdued. I feel, maybe it's because I'm just tired. It's been a long day. It's been a very long day. Well, it's now the next day. I feel I should go to bed because I've got to work tomorrow, but I'm having a bloody drink. But I've been strangely subdued. I think this whole film, in a sense, I felt very differently when making this particular film to making others in the series. And if you want to watch my others in the series, there's links in the description box. Now, only one link, because I've taken the very clever step of creating a Brexit portal. It's on the main Hapanmo site, which is that's the blog I hardly ever update. It's something I occasionally put big articles on there, twice a year or something. I put a Brexit portal on there. So you just go there, go to the link. All my Brexit stuff is in one place. All the links are in one place, and there's about 100 of them, which shows how obsessed I've been with Brexit. So you can see my previous films there. This has been different, of course, because obviously I didn't get arrested. Clearly, this is about because, of course, this was a celebration. It wasn't a protest, so it's just going to be happiness and joy, and not anger and resentment. Although the first Brexit protest, of course, was also had a very good atmosphere. I thought, if you remember the one I went to, I thought it was very good. But it's funny that, because I often envisage what this. As soon as I heard about Brexit dates, I mean, every time a Brexit day comes along, I want to film it, and well, this is the fourth Brexit day actually. But the difference is that this one actually worked. There was no bloody delay or anything else, or Ms. Gina Miller or anyone else sticking their oar in. So this one actually worked. We actually did get Brexit. But I've always thought, well, what would that be like? What will it be like? It's sort of like, it's something I really couldn't envisage, because it's rather like it's something I call effing the ineffable. And now that's not a term I invented. It was actually Professor Stephen Law, who I covered on a previous video. He actually came with the term effing the ineffable, but he means it for something different. I mean it. I mean it to refer to a different concept, but I still use the term. And this is something I came across actually when I was writing the Roswell trilogy. Is that it's not always possible to envisage something from our point of view. For example, in this world we're in, this Illuminati occupied world, it may not be possible to understand or even to imagine the post-Illuminati world within our mental framework, because we've lived our whole lives within an Illuminati occupied world. Now, in a sense, there's a small element to that in Brexit. I think obviously it's not the same. I mean, this is not the end of the New World Order, etc., etc., etc. I know that. I'll come on to that in a minute. But it's possible that, seen as the European project has been so long in the running, in fact it's been over a century since the idea first came about, the two-stage Stalinist model, as I call it. It was actually predates Stalin, amazingly. It's been over a century since it was first envisaged, and now it seems to be failing, and Brexit is the absolute biggest spanner in the works. that project has ever experienced in its 102-year history. But it's possible that because we've all lived our lives within this European project, and indeed the entire world has lived its, everyone in the world has lived their life within this model, this strategic model, that we ourselves can't perceive, we can't conceive of the world without it. It's all becoming clearer now. It's amazing how, no matter how exhausted I am, a few sips of this and it soon gets my tongue lubricated again. Yeah, it's so, that's maybe why I'm having trouble articulating myself in this particular film. It wasn't perhaps as detailed or as animated as my other films in this series has been. Yeah, but perhaps it'll something that will grow on me. I'll sort of like it'll sink in and I'll get used to it. Maybe it's just another case of happy shock. Didn't we talk about happy shock beforehand? It's like shock, but it's a happy thing, which I've had several times. I've talked about several times. Do you remember my live streams about the general election, about the Brexit referendum, things like that? I mean, no false modesty here. I have covered this subject extensively in written form, in the form of the Hapanmo blog, and the Hapanmo voice blog. I've covered it in video format with Hapanmo TV, and my radio shows, Hapanmo Radio. I've covered it in a multimedia setting since before the referendum, and I think that's quite an achievement. But there's some certain questions, right, that's got to be asked. And now, was yesterday Independence Day? Will it go down in history as being Independence Day? Will the British people celebrate Independence Day on the 31st of January? That's the question, because I've been celebrating Independence Day every year since 2016. However, the original Independence Day was June the 24th, the morning after the referendum. That was what Boris said was our Independence Day. He called it that in a speech. He said, from now on, this is our Independence Day, he said. So the question is that now going to shift to January the 31st? In the same way as if you follow the Paradigm Research Group, Stephen Bassett says, Disclosure Day is July the 8th, isn't it? I've made videos about Disclosure Day. However, in the event of ET disclosure, which will come, it'll come. I think it's. I was going to say it's more likely than Brexit, but Brexit's now happened. Yeah. When that happens, Disclosure Day will automatically shift to that date. So it'll go from July the 8th to that date. So the question is, has British Independence Day now shifted from June the 24th to January the 31st? The answer is I don't know. Or maybe we'll have two Independence Days, eh? Two for the price of one. Why not? Or one day, well, maybe we'll have like a double celebration. There'll be like Referendum Day will be June the 24th, Referendum Independence Day, and then January 31st will be Brexit Day, Independence Day. Why not, eh? We've got to celebrate it. But I noticed that not everyone is celebrating. I mean, I'm not just talking about the Remainers. There's been an indifference and a silence from much of the authorities. For example, you may have noticed there's been no special logo on Google for this. I mean, Google put up, about a third of their pages are always special for certain things. It might just be the birthday of someone famous. So-and-so died 300 years ago, or so-and-so was born 300 years ago, or something like that. Or they put one up for International Women's Day. Martin Luther King Day, Christmas Day, of course. And indeed, they vary in whichever country you're in. For example, Google put up a logo for St David's Day last year, which of course only really affects people in Wales, and the United Kingdom, perhaps beyond. But so where you are in the world will depend on what logo you see for Google. But I'm in Britain and there's no Brexit Day logo. They didn't put a Brexit Day logo. their silence speaks volumes, doesn't it? And I really think that perhaps that's what we should expect. In a sense, it was a forlorn hope, even thinking that there'd be some kind of special logo. Because, of course, it just shows this is the attitude of the establishment. You shouldn't expect them to be magnanimous, because the Illuminati-occupied mind, or even the Illuminati mind itself. Do you remember that thing from, do you remember Carlos Castaneda? Have you ever read the Carlos Castaneda books? He said that it was Don Juan. He said, the darkness gave us their mind. I remember Yoda saying something similar in Star Wars. But you know, it's kind of a strange thing. But they don't, are they? I mean, I see. Honestly, I wouldn't have. If Remain had won, I wouldn't have behaved like this. I wouldn't have behaved like this. I wouldn't have been demanding second referendums. I wouldn't have been crying in the streets and shouting and stamping my feet and calling Remainers communists and things like that. I wouldn't have done that. That's good stuff. Prosecco. I'm saying it's Italian, but I thought myself, you should have bought something British, but well, Britain is not. I mean, in terms of what the wines, Britain doesn't produce many of those. I could have got some Scotch whiskey, of course, but then I'd be in no state for work tomorrow. Could have got some beer, but I'm not in the mood for beer. I'd be going to the toilet all night. So wine it is, but there are British wines, sparkling wines, white wines, things like that. But not many. It's too cold and wet to grow much wine. But maybe Italy will be the next one. Maybe they'll be an Italexit next, eh? You know, if Salvini gets in, then maybe Italy will be the next nation to rebel. It's enormous. It fills me with enormous pride that we were the first. Britain was the first to stand up to these bastards, these bullies. I mean, I'm going to make another video in a couple of days about this because something else has happened, which I won't talk about now. But you know, if we're going to be warriors, we have to act like warriors. We have to think of ourselves as warriors, and that's an important point that's going to come up, I think, because this is a difficult week for me, for reasons I'll explain in the upcoming videos. Which means it's you know, the line from Rule Britannia, you know, talking last night of the proms thing. Britain's never, never, never shall be slaves. I love that. Britain's never, never, never shall be slaves. And I don't think we will. I don't think we have shown that rebellious spirit, that strength, is still there. I mean, it could have been beaten down in the post-war period with all the horrible things that have been done to us. I mean, we could have gone the same way as Germany, and poor Germany. Poor old Germany is a pale husk of its former self, as Nick Colostrum was saying on that video I did with him. But that it has not been snuffed out in Britain. Not that it can't be relit in Germany, because it can be. They got to get rid of that bloody Merkel, haven't they? Bring in someone else who's not ridden with guilt and all the other things that Germans have to feel, and just said, sod the guilt. You know, we're Germans. We're going to be free. We're going to be proud. We're going to be free. We're getting out of this disgusting union. I mean, it's from a geographical strategic point of view, Germany is very important. Germany's always been a vital strategic stronghold. It's been the centre of the chessboard in many, many ways for all through history, because it is right in the middle of Europe, which is why the world wars were carried out there. When the Bank of England decided to start funding both sides in the wars, it was Germany where they centred on. And indeed, Germany is being set up as the agenda that the European project has, the New World Order, the drive for a one world super government with a dictatorship. Germany's playing a very important role. Yet again, Germany has had a, you know, when this industrialised movement of people began the recent migrant crisis, Germany has been targeted worse than any. They had about 2 million. And that means because they intend, whatever trouble they're planning, they intend to start it off in Germany. For that reason. And I feel sorry for the Germans. Another glass. You've got to drink all. You see, the thing about this stuff is you can't really put. If you stick it in the fridge, it just goes flat and it's not as nice. So you have to kind of drink it all in one go. Which means it's just one bottle. I'll be all right. I'll get to work tomorrow. That's just what I've only got 2 jobs to do actually. But I've got to interview some people. And one of the people I've got to interview tomorrow is Caroline Stevens. That's for the Hapanwo show. That's for next week's Hapanwo show, which is probably going to be called something like A Week After Brexit. And Caroline and I disagree quite considerably on an awful lot. However, she makes some good points, I have to admit. And this brings us on to another point I want to make. Now, we're all very happy, we're all very elated, and we should be. We're right to celebrate. We're right to just take this day, to make this day a day of rejoicing. This is a battle won, a major battle, but it's not the end of the war. It's not the winning of the war. And I mean, anyone in the truth movement who says that is wrong. And I mean, anyone, and also the people who try to mischaracterise the likes of us, the 2016ers within the truth movement, as, well, you think now Brexit has happened, everything's going to be fine, don't you? Oh, you're so naive, you really are. Well, that's a complete misrepresentation of my position. Because you see, Caroline makes some good points. She has explained, I mean, you watch her channel, Caroline Stevens Seeking the Truth. What she says about the Lisbon Treaty is absolutely correct. Now, I said this when Boris first got elected. I said, there are certain criteria, there are certain tests we can give him to basically to see exactly what kind of man he is. Whether he is what we feared he might be, or whether what we hoped he would be. Now, I mean, I had this worry that once he was in power, once he was Prime Minister, he would just transform into another Theresa May. I mean, look at his background. It is different from Trump's. He did attend Bilderberg meetings. I think only one, but he did attend a Bilderberg meeting. He does have a political background. He, unlike Trump, he does have that. He has had that position where he could have been corrupted, and I thought to myself, he's going to turn into another Theresa May, and he's going to betray everything he said he was going to do. But when he stood up in front of all those policemen at the police training college, and he said, "I'd rather be dead in a ditch," I was stunned. And I mean, and the letter he wrote. Do you remember Boris's letters? I wrote a video called Boris's Letters, remember that? The Boris's Letters, I mean, the things he did were so, they ran so contrary to normal political doctrine that I couldn't believe, I just couldn't say, I couldn't possibly accept the idea that somehow he was some form of controlled opposition. All the predictions that I made, and indeed Caroline made about this and several other people, did not come to pass. However, it's not over yet, and as I said, and also it's not over for Boris. Boris has so far behaved in he's so far kept his promises, he stuck by his guns, he has so far done what was, I think, required of him, if he professes to be who he is. But will he in future? Now, this is the point. Caroline's done one of the best videos Caroline did was the one about the Lisbon Treaty, because despite our differences of opinion, what Caroline says in that video is essentially correct. We do still have the Lisbon Treaty on the statute books. It's still there. It's not been repealed. The European Defence Act, that has to be repealed. Now, Brexit is not the end. as I said, it's not the end of anything. It's more the beginning of, it's the beginning of more than it's the end of. It's simply the end of the, what was it Winston Churchill said? It's the end of the beginning. All Brexit Day is, and all we've had today, is the, essentially, it's the end result of this process of basically delivering the referendum result. The real fun is about to begin. This is the starting gun of the race. This is not the finish line. What's going to happen now in the following year, and in the next few years in fact, is going to be confusing and it's uncertain. But Boris Johnson is going to have some major challenges which will far exceed, I believe, the ones which he's already faced. And I do believe that that applies to the rest of us as well. There's going to be a backlash. Now, Styx Hexenhammer has done a couple of really good videos about this. We're now going to go through, I think we're going to be hit by a pretty turbulent period, because the New World Order is not going to go quietly. The Illuminati are not going to just simply step aside. This deep state wants to keep its grip over the world. This deep state that has been essentially lying there, controlling everything, or trying to control everything, for how long? For as long as for as long as recorded history. And literally, you have to go back to the fall of Atlantis to find a beginning to this agenda. I mean, that's how long it's been here. This is what I mean about effing the ineffable. You know, who remembers Atlantis, guys? Yeah, it was great, wasn't it? No. Yeah. So, this is not gonna. It's not gonna end. You can't just flip from one to the other. You can't just simply take this process apart, bit by bit by bit, and expect it to be easy and quick. It's not. We talk the transitional period now we're going to go into. Boris wants it done and dusted within a year. Now, Boris, this is a good thing he's done. He's forcing the EU to stick to the timetable, because he knows very well that the European Union, any extension to the transitional period will be an opportunity for them to make mischief, for them to try to set up some kind of Brino situation, Brexit in name only, in which they eventually claw back the territory they've lost with Brexit, without actually saying we're undoing Brexit. This is the problem. You know, this is why Boris is standing up to the European Court, saying, you know, the European Court currently wants to retain control over the British judiciary for the entire transitional period, and which of course will then, the plan is to then get an extension so they can continue that hold. Boris is fighting them back. Same with the fisheries. You know, there's old Macron is saying, they're talking about the bloody fisheries. Maintaining the fishing boats and things like that, and the current policy, the current European policy for fishing, which has been disastrous, not just for Europe, for the world, for Africa. I mean, this allows basically French fishing boats to go as far as the Gulf of Guinea and take fish which the local fishing industry in West Africa have wanted. And it's been absolutely catastrophic. It's been catastrophic economically and environmentally. I mean, half of all the fish in the oceans are dead. What if the other half goes? That means we'll be dead, because the oceans die, the land dies. So people in the Green Party should think about that if they're supporting the EU. Boris is fighting back against that as well, and I mean, I think we should fight back against the European fishing policy, and at the risk of saying something that might break the law, I've got to be careful. I've been preparing for that by playing World of Warships. We are, I think, looking at a trade war. We're going to experience a trade war, and it could be very bad for people. And the people worst hit, of course, will be the poorest people. There'll be people who, and well, I say I don't consider myself poor, but I am low income. Will be hit the worst, as always. And the thing is, as Styx says, every single bad thing that happens, which is a result of the EU, the European Central Bank, the trade regulators in the EU, which dictate to the member states against their will, preventing them setting up bilateral deals with Britain. Every single thing that happens, which is engineered, every single engineered economic catastrophe is going to be blamed on Brexit. It's going to be saying, well, this just happened as a result of Brexit. No one made it happen, it just happened as a result of Brexit. And it's the Brexiteers you've got to blame. The people who voted Leave, people like me, who've been saying Brexit is nothing to be afraid of. They were wrong. Brexit is something very to be afraid of. Do you see what I mean? Look, this is just what's happened inevitably because you left the European Union. When deep down, of course, it will be because they basically have committed financial sabotage. And unfortunately, protestations from people like me will fall on deaf ears for many people. People who suddenly find that the price of food is rising, that their that wages are dropping, job losses and things like that. It's going to be a huge information war, to quote Alex Jones, and we'll be at the disadvantage. So we've got to play our cards very carefully. Some people claim this may turn out to be a real war, as in, well, there's all kinds of ways of fighting war. I mean, the definition of real war, in the popular term, is people shooting at each other. Because, of course, war has many, many definitions. I mean, you could say that, I think there's von Clausewitz, politics is a continuation of war, but war is a continuation of politics by other means. It'd probably be more accurate to say that politics is a continuation of war by other means. I'm not going to get to bed till about 3 o'clock. However, I'm getting pissed. Dear me, I'm not really eating much. I think shooting wars are unlikely in this day and age because of the nuclear threat. This is why you have proxy wars like the Vietnam War and things like that, and Afghanistan under the Soviets, because the thing is like the anti-war argument is no longer a moral one; it's merely a practical one. We're too good at killing each other. I mean, this was understood as long ago as the Great War, 1914 to 1918. People suddenly realised that it wasn't a moral question anymore. We're just too good. We're just too destructive. Our methods are too destructive. We have means of destroying each other which are just so extreme that we can't use them ever without destroying ourselves and the entire world. I mean, weapons of mass destruction. So a real war is unlikely unless the Illuminati get desperate. However, we have to be on our guard against perhaps the financial equivalent of Vietnam, some kind of proxy economic war. And what form that will take, I'm not sure. I mean, I think the situation with Deutsche Bank is very telling, because Deutsche Bank is now in serious trouble, and Deutsche Bank is the biggest bank in Europe, and a crash of Deutsche Bank could lead to another massive stock market crash, and it will be blamed on Brexit. And it doesn't matter what the facts are. That's the problem in this world we live in, clown world, this post-democratic, post-rational, post-moral world. People like you and me are outsiders. We are fringe. We are ridiculed loonies. The true citizens of clown world will have the loudest voices, and the mainstream media will see to that. Hence, no logo on Google. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, today is a day of joy. We have taken a massive step in the right direction, regardless of whatever anyone else says, regardless of what you hear about, oh no, it's fake Brexit or anything like that. No, it's not fake Brexit. It's real Brexit. It happened against the will of the deep state. This is not to say, of course, as I explained, that they're not going to try and manipulate it to their way, to their way of thinking. But it's something that I think should be a moment of jubilation. Today and yesterday are days of jubilation, because this is the biggest breakthrough, the biggest strike back we've actually achieved since, I don't know, the Boudica Rebellion? No, I'm not going to have a Boudica moment. I'm not going to have a Boudica moment. Nope. Calm down, Ben, calm down. But I don't know. Is there a historical precedent for this? That's the question. I mean, I'll leave that open to you guys. Fill the comments box with your ideas. Is there another event in history, in the Illuminati-occupied history of this world, which began at a certain point? People disagree over where it began. Oh, it was 1776. Oh no, it was the French Revolution. Oh no, it was the Black Nobility and the Knights Templar. I push it back further, of course. But is there any precedent in history where the free people of the world have pushed back and won a victory against the deep state, which is the equivalent of Brexit? Has it ever happened before? I can't think of one. If you can, let me know. Right now, we should simply raise a glass and say thank you, British people. Thank you, free people of the world. Thank you, everybody who's so much as raised a finger against this agenda. And fuck you, Illuminati. Thank you for watching at Banwo TV. Happy Independence Day to you all. Hospital porters, pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order.